If you have a disc herniation and you want to avoid surgery, I want you to watch this video before making any decisions, because I'm going to show you exactly what happens when someone in your position finally gets the right rebuild. Not a generic program, not another round of physio, not any more injections, and definitely not surgery. A structured and progressive rebuild built entirely around them. Andrew was told that surgery was his next option. This is what happened instead. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what's been missing and what's actually possible for you. Let me tell you about Andrew. He's in his 30s and he'd been dealing with a disc herniation for years now. Years of public physio, private physio, multiple professionals just telling him completely different things. He showed up, he stayed consistent, and he'd done all the core exercises that he was told to do. And nothing, genuinely nothing, ever focused on giving him long-term lasting results. Everything just gave temporary relief, short-term fixes, so then the same cycle would repeat over and over. Physios in particular kept letting him down. He'd go through a course of treatment, feel better for a day or maybe even a week, but then he would always end up back to square one. Not of the surgery itself, but of what it actually represented. That he'd tried everything. The system had run out of answers. This was as good as it was going to get. He told me that he genuinely thought that he was going to end up in a walking stick. Those were his exact words. But here's the thing about Andrew. He knew deep down that there had to be another way, and that's when he started working with me. And the first thing he said was that he finally felt like he had something he could actually work on and stay consistent with and build on every week. For the first time, he finally had a direction. So why had everything Andrew tried failed him? Because here's the truth that no one in the system was honest enough to tell him. Physio is designed to just manage symptoms, not rebuild your back. Every appointment Andrew went to was focused on calming down the pain, reducing the flare-up, buying just a few weeks of relief and sending him back into the same cycle. Nobody ever asked the real question. Why does Andrew's back keep failing him? What does it actually need to handle real life, long term? And without that question being answered, surgery just kept getting closer. Not because Andrew's disc was necessarily getting worse, but because his back had just never been progressively rebuilt. The tolerance his spine needed to handle real life, the sitting through work, the bending, the lifting, the movements that he was scared of, was never being rebuilt. It was just being managed, and managed backs don't avoid surgery. Rebuilt backs do. That's the difference that nobody explained to Andrew, and it's the difference that nobody has explained to you either. What did rebuilding Andrew's back actually look like? From day one, everything was built around him specifically. Not a generic program, not exercises pulled from a sheet. A structured progressive rebuild built around his disc, his history, his starting point, and his life. Not a 30-minute physio appointment in 3 weeks. Not a Google search, not asking ChatGPT about symptoms. When the bad days hit, he messaged me and actually got a real answer from someone who knew his story. The daily support meant that bad days never derailed him. They became part of the process instead of the end of it. And every single week we jumped on a call together. A real conversation, reviewing exactly where he was, what was working, and what needed adjusting. His plan never stayed the same. It evolved around him every single week, and here's what started happening immediately. Andrew started getting back to being active. Not dramatically, not overnight, but small movements he'd been avoiding, things he'd written off completely, started coming back. And mentally, this was huge, because for the first time in years, he was getting through full work days without his back being at the front of his mind. No more calculating every movement, no more dreading every meeting or every work day, just being able to work. That early feeling of moving in the right direction is something Andrew hadn't felt in years. So where is Andrew now? He's no longer cancelling plans because of his back, no longer wakes up wondering if today is going to be the day that it goes again, no longer carrying that surgery anxiety that just used to follow him everywhere. He's training at the gym with no limitations. He's definitely not in a walking stick, and he's most definitely avoided surgery. The surgeon's conversation that felt inevitable never happened. But here's the thing I want you to take from Andrew's story. It wasn't the end result that changed everything for him. It was the feeling in those first few weeks of finally just having something worth committing to. A clear, progressive plan that moved forward every single week. Someone in his corner every single day. No more guessing, no more conflicting advice, no more wondering if surgery was just inevitable. Just straight progress, week by week. That's what was always missing, and that's what's missing for you too. If you've watched this video and Andrew's story sounds familiar, if you've been through the physio, the treatments, the psycho, and surgery is starting to feel like a when rather than an if, and it's something that you just really want to avoid, I want you to know something. Surgery isn't inevitable. It becomes inevitable when no one actually gives you the right rebuild. Andrew proved that, and I'd like to help you prove it too. I've put 2 links down below in the description. The first is my free masterclass, the exact step-by-step approach I use to help people with disc herniations rebuild their back and keep surgery off the table. Watch this if you want to go deeper before actually making any decisions. The second is a direct application link to rebuild your back one-to-one with me. If you're done waiting, if you're ready to finally have something worth committing to, apply below and we'll have an honest conversation about whether I can help you, because Andrew also thought that surgery was inevitable too.